Hey, what's up guys? It's Tech talking to you here, and today I want to talk about the iPhone 12 Pro Max in 2021 and what should we expect for the iPhone 13 Pro Max and how they compare. But right off the gate, the iPhone 12 Pro Max was an excellent phone from what it was in 2020 and 2021. This is my mother's phone, as I said in my last 12 Pro Max review, which came out a few months ago. But the iPhone Pro Max, even though it was my mother's phone, I've used it quite a lot in terms of its cameras, performance, battery life and display. The iPhone 12 Pro Max for me was the best iPhone of 2021, but with some compromises, which in my opinion, for me, made me switch for the iPhone 12 Pro Max or the iPhone 12 Pro. But the 12 Pro Max, for the power user, I think it was the perfect phone in 2021. But now, in July, at the end and beginning of August, I believe that right now you should not buy this phone. You should wait for the iPhone 13 Pro Max, because what leaks have been telling us is that the new 13 Pro Max would be just insane in terms of value. 120 Hz, better cameras, the same design of course, no Touch ID, but all of these things, even though it's an S year of course, it would add up to a better phone for the same money. And don't forget always on display, because that's pretty cool. But before I go deeper into that and compare this phone against the 13 Pro Max, roll the intro. So, the iPhone 12 Pro Max, excellent phone by the way. Huge, chunky and squared off. This phone, when it was released, everyone thought it was too big. But by the time they were 6-7 months into it, they were already telling us that this phone was not noticeable in terms of big size. Well, I'm here to tell you that even though I've used the 12 Pro as my main phone, I've used the 12 Pro Max sometimes each day. And I believe that 12 Pro Max is still too big for me. But the 12 Pro has been perfect. One of the things that the 12 Pro fails to deliver is excellent battery life. Well, this phone corrects that mistake by a long shot. My mother's phone lasts her at least 2 days, and that's just incredible. This phone for her is just like a tank. She doesn't charge it for almost 2.5 days, and sometimes she forgets to charge it and goes into the morning of the third day, which is just incredible. The battery life on this phone is almost as good or as good as the 11 Pro Max, which was the best battery life on an iPhone ever. Well, the 13 Pro Max will feature an even bigger battery life than the iPhone 11 Pro Max, so we should expect even better performances from the 13 Pro Max in terms of battery. Well, compared to this phone, with the same price that will come up in September, the 13 Pro Max will probably average 2 to 3 more hours of battery life. And now, you can get the battery MagSafe pack and extend that to almost 3 days, which is just insane. The 13 Pro Max is a great phone, and with an even better battery life, it will make it even more perfect. The display on the iPhone 13 Pro Max would be the same probably as the iPhone 12 Pro Max, with a huge difference. The quality of the screen in terms of screen colors and stuff would be probably the same. It would be a Pro XDR display. But what would change is that they will have an LTPO OLED display, which means the display on the iPhone 13 Pro Max will be able to vary its refresh rate from 1 Hz to 120 Hz. Unlocking 2 major features. The first one is always on display. The always on display has been missing from the iPhone for a long time. The Android phones have had it since they had an OLED screen on their phones. But the iPhone, because of battery life savings, has chosen not to have an always on display. So I believe that with the 120 Hz LTPO display, which you have to have in mind that it's not always at 120 Hz, it will be variable refresh rate display. So it will be at 120 Hz when you are scrolling, and it will be at 1 Hz when you are looking at an image. So it will save battery life. With this in mind, when you lock your phone, the iPhone will not be like this, a black screen. It will have a screen or some information like the Apple Watch has with an always on mode. You can of course turn it on and off, like you can do it on the Apple Watch. But this is a major feature because the iPhone doesn't feature any of that. And I think that when you have your phone standing on the table and you want to look at it and see some information, but you don't want to touch it or unlock it and tell the people at the other side that you are using your iPhone, you are checking your notifications, It's pretty cool. Of course, you have the Apple Watch to do that, but not everyone has an Apple Watch. So I think Apple adding it that kills one of another complaints from Android users about the iPhone. Then the second and big feature that is coming to the Pro models only with the 120Hz LTPO display is 120Hz. Everyone has been asking for 120Hz for almost 2 years now. And since the 12 leaks have started, the iPhone 12 leaks, people were believing that it would come with a 120Hz display. Right until the end of its leaks cycle, which was until August or July, we were thinking that we would have 120Hz on this phone. But later on, John Prosser and other display leaks like Ross Young told us that it wouldn't come with 120Hz because Apple had decided to cut it off just because of battery life and 5G. So it's quite a bummer, but we will see it on the new 13 Pro and Pro Max, and I'm quite excited for that. I'm not going to upgrade because my phone is still very great, and the 12 Pro, it's a phone for almost 2 to 3 or 4 years even. And I think that it will stay updated for much longer because it was a very huge update on its time. Then, one of the features that Apple will try to upgrade on the 13 Pro Max to entice people to upgrade is the camera module. The thing is, when you upgrade the camera module, you have to pay attention to 3 things. You have to upgrade the wide camera, the ultra-wide, and the telephoto. On 2020, when Apple released the 12 Pro Max, they only updated the wide camera because they had it bigger and with a huge sensor, like it has a huge sensor, and it makes low light photography even better, and they added sensor shift. That's it, that's why it's called. But the ultra-wide and the telephoto were kind of a miss. They were almost the same as the 11 Pro Max, and they weren't as good as the wide camera. But with the 13 Pro and Pro Max, Apple will correct this mistake and try to upgrade and bring these 2 cameras and secondary cameras to the level of the main primary camera, which is the wide camera. This would make your ultra-wide photos as crisp and colorful at night and day as the same as the wide camera. And your telephoto photos will be shot on the telephoto. Because with the 12 Pro and the 12 Pro Max, your telephoto photos sometimes are shot with your wide camera and then cropped in, because the quality that the wide camera can bring is better than the telephoto. So it makes Apple the decision to use the wide camera instead of telephoto and crop in, which give them even a better image. This happens a lot in low light conditions. So with the iPhone 13 Pro Max, we are expecting a bigger lens by itself and a bigger camera module. The 13 Pro would have a huge camera module when compared to the 12 Pro, but the 12 Pro Max will have a slightly bigger camera module compared to the 12 Pro Max. And I'm excited for that too. I think bringing new things to the table with the camera is always good. Improving the camera is always amazing. But the thing is, I'm interested in buying a camera right now, and I don't know which one to buy, because these lenses, even though they are cool and they have a lot of artificial photography, which is AI, I think that by having bigger sensors, the quality will improve with more megapixels and stuff, which is quite interesting, because all of the cameras right now on the market, the normal cameras, the DSLRs or mirrorless, they have huge sensors, but a bad artificial intelligence behind them. But Apple has an amazing artificial intelligence behind them, but has not that good of camera sensors. So I believe they join them together, they make amazing cameras. But only in this year leaks, and they are saying us that the 13 Pro Max would have good, amazing, and even better cameras than the 12 Pro Max, which is expected for year-on-year upgrade. Finally, the chip on this iPhone is the A14. The 12 Pro Max features the A14 chip, which is the mother or the father to the M1. You might say that the A14 chip is pretty fast still, and I have to tell you that it is. It is the first 5nm chip to have come to the market, and there's still no one that can come close to it. Even Qualcomm's chips haven't come close to it. And this iPhone still feels pretty as much as fast as it first did. And it will feel this way until it dies 5 to 6 years from now. Of course, it will feel slow playing games, but the A14 has just an headroom like the A13, the A12. They still feel like normal and up-to-date processors, and this is the latest processor from Apple. And the only processor that comes close to it is the A13. So it's really strange to see that. And I think that with the A15, you won't notice any difference besides camera performance with its neural cores. But I mean, even better chips, it's always good, and you cannot say that Apple should stick with the A14 because that would stop innovation. This phone, of course, features 5G. 5G, it has not been the thing that it should be, because my country, Portugal, even though they are telling us that 5G is ready to launch, the carriers are not supporting it. Only one carrier has it, and it's pretty bad. It's not that great. So 5G on this phone, it's kind of a gimmick. This phone doesn't have the ultra-wideband thing that the US phones have, and that's pretty cool because I don't like it. More stainless steel for me. But it's future-proof, let's say that, because it has 5G, and probably in 3 or 4 years, when the 5G network is up and ready, you will be able to use it with it. But the battery life with 5G is kind of not great, and that's why Apple introduced it with a technology that would manage 5G and 4G when you're using stuff. So I believe that with the 13 Pro Max, it will be the same story still, but Apple will probably use a new modem from Qualcomm, which would make the 5G more efficient, not wasting any battery life. To finish up this connectivity conversation, I believe that Apple will introduce Wi-Fi 6E. Leaks have been telling us that, and of course, the new Wi-Fi standard, Apple updates to it. So this phone features Wi-Fi 6, and then we will see Wi-Fi 6E. The difference being that the Wi-Fi 6E finally uses a 6 gigahertz or hertz modem, not a 5.5 like this Wi-Fi 6 uses. So it's a real Wi-Fi 6. You might notice a bit of difference with Wi-Fi speeds, but the only real difference is that you will be using a less crowded network and Wi-Fi network if you are like frequencies and stuff. If you are a geek, you know what I'm talking about, or a nerd. But if you are not, you will notice any difference besides a little bit faster Wi-Fi networks and a little bit more reliable in terms of connection, stability. And that's it. The iPhone 12 Pro Max was great for its time. But right now, before the iPhone 13 Pro Max releases, I do not recommend it. This phone, it's the best iPhone, and for me, the best phone in 2021. But my advice if you wanted to buy it this year is to wait for the 13 Pro Max to release and then try to buy this phone even cheaper. Maybe a second-hand phone, maybe a refurbished phone, or even leftover phone from in Best Buy or other stores that they want to sell and they make a 10%, 15% discount. But do not buy full price right now, or do not buy any iPhone right now, because we are almost a month and a half away, which they will come out on 14th of September. We are almost at the end of July, so 2 months for the release of the new iPhone 13s, and you can wait 2 months. Even though your phone might be pretty bad, you can still end up with a bad phone for 2 months. And this phone, even though it was great, I don't think it's a good buy right now at full price. If you can get a discount or used or refurbished, it's great, it's an amazing deal. It will have a very fantastic phone for the next 4, 5, 6 years. But in my opinion, if you want a phone right now, just wait and get 13s Pro or Pro Max, because the Pro will be at the same level as the Pro Max, with the battery life being the difference. But what's your opinion? Don't forget to comment down below. I want to really to know. Did you enjoy using the 12 Pro Max? Did you use the 12 Pro Max? Or are you waiting for the iPhone 13s? I mean, in my opinion, they will be called the iPhone 12s, as I said before. But what's your opinion? Comment them down below. Don't forget to leave a like, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and follow me on my social networks, the Twitter and Instagram. I'm very, very close not to having any followers there, and I want to grow on them too. But this was Texumer talking to you here. Bye.